Welcome to another edition of the Dementia Care Partner Talk Show. Now, here's dementia care expert Teepa and your host, Greg Phelps.
Hello and welcome to the Dementia Care Partners podcast. I'm your host, Greg Phelps, and joining me once again is Teepa, dementia care expert. And Teepa, there was a recent story here in Canada, maybe in the States as well, about how some care facilities are now mixing in people with brain change as a result of drug abuse. So putting them into some senior care facilities. Does this set off any alarm bells, or is my mind just sort of racing when it shouldn't race?
Wow. Well, given that I know that people who live with FTD, behavioral variant or frontal variant, typically struggle in residential communities, and they have dementia. They are someone living with dementia, but they're younger, and they have an FTD variation. That means the behavioral, impulse control, logic, reason, sequencing, being able to see somebody else's perspective, recognizing your own limitations is damaged. And those facilities that handle that, those organizations that handle that, find that really, really challenging. I'm going to say mixing in someone who has amygdala damage due to alcohol or drug use, where your amygdala believes, I must have this in order to feel reasonable. I have got to get this. And it's a fake message that gets sent, and it's really a need and a drive. I can't imagine this is going to go well for staff, for leaders, for people living with dementia, or even for the people who are living with this condition, unless there's really remarkable amounts of preparation, training, and coaching to help someone through this process. Because it's interesting. We did it a while back with mental health issues in the States in secured units, and we ended up having really awful situations occur, and they stopped doing that. But I mean, it was really life-taking events that resulted in people finally saying, wait a minute, maybe this isn't what we should be doing.
How does this happen? Is it because somebody does not take the time to sort of ask? Well, I mean, it's brain change. Teepa, come on, let's just put them all together.
Yeah. Well, it's funding shortages. It's there's beds available. So should we put, I mean, and sometimes it's not even that. It's, well, we don't have any place to put them. We've got to get them out of the hospital. We've got to get them out of the emergency setting. We don't have enough resources in the community. They've been in and out of legal situations most frequently, and health situations. And it's sort of, I think, sometimes a last ditch effort. We don't know what else to do. And so there's these spaces and places where they deal with people with brain injuries and brain damage. And it's like, wow, what an ill-informed and uninformed, and I can't think of enough adjectives to describe how not helpful this decision is without adding in the things that need to be added if we are going to do this. If you do want to do it, I'm not saying absolutely not, but I'm saying you can't just throw this at people and say, yeah, let's just add this on the plate to a system that's already so struggling. I mean, good grief. Just add another load on the dock.
So if you're going to do this, if for some reason, at least pause the old time out and say, let's get some training in here. But is training really going to help the situation? I guess it's better than nothing, but we want the training.
Is what you're going to need. I mean, you've got to get some training. People have to understand, because many people still have a misperception of what alcohol and drug do to the brain, and why it results in the situations it results in, and how difficult it is to manage alcohol consumption in the public sector, because we make it so available. Now, many drugs, prescription-wise, that's how the opioid whole addiction and the fentanyl thing started, was with prescriptions. So we know that, and under the guise of being helpful. So what we now know is we've got this huge issue that we aren't dealing with. And so in order for this to work, we're going to have to say pause, a hard pause. I'd say a stop. I'd say there needs to be a stop, and somebody needs to say, whoa, pause, wait, let's stop here. Let's think how these things are similar, how they're different, what's working, what's not working, before we put these people in this place with these props in place and this kind of programming. Because the programming needed for people who have alcohol and drug problems is different than what is needed for people with dementia. I mean, good grief. Yes, similar, but different. And without the right kind of training and then coaching and then consulting and then engagement, has the makings of a disaster. And I'm so sorry it's happening in Canada, because you guys will be apologetic, but that doesn't make it okay. I mean, I'm sorry this happened only goes so far for me, when I'm sorry too, and it shouldn't have happened. So let's pause and fix it. Let's not just add more fuel to the fire of despair, which is what I would feel as a worker in that situation, I've got to say.
Not trying to alarm families, but if families see this happening and they want to understand possible conflicts, could they get in touch with anybody at Positive Approach to Care and get some advice on what things to look for, so that if they see red flags, they know what's going on?
Yeah, so whether you're the family member of someone who has an alcohol or drug problem, or whether you're the family member of someone living with dementia in this setting, or a resident in that setting, I think talking it through with somebody who's got some consulting thinking skill with you would help you prepare, and perhaps the person prepare, for this transition into a setting that was never a setting designed for these folks in this situation. And yet we're being asked to make it work.
Teepa, if somebody wants to talk to somebody at Positive Approach to Care, can we pick up a phone, or do we have to do this with
pick up a phone? You can text us, you can call us, you can call the 800 number, you can do consults at teepasnow.com. You can also do info@teepasnow.com. Any of those will work, because all of those connect us.
Teepa, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
You've been listening to the Dementia Care Partners podcast. For more information, go to teepasnow.com.